I go back to the old movies and I'm like, I kind of wish they did. I wish I was back in that time watching old movies. This week I have watched Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome and St. Elmo's Fire. What a great week. I'm like, because I'm going through my top 200 films that I've got on the physical discs. I'm like, does that need to be in there? Does it still deserve to be in there? And both those films are in there. And yes, they do deserve to be in there. But then it got me thinking back to our childhoods and pick 3 films. I struggled with the third one for mine, to be fair.
I struggled. Siobhan asked me, she goes, what's your 3? And I rounded off 2 straight away.
Same.
And then I got to the third one. I was like, oh, I think I know what it is. And I'll start with my third when you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, I got 2, and then I got another 4, and I couldn't work out which of those 4 was actually my 3. I think I worked it out, but I'm still not sure, so it might change. But it's just, I mean, this isn't necessarily our favorite films.
No.
These are the ones where you go, do you know what, that kind of shaped who I am or really connected with me as a kid. So what year were you born first?
84.
84, 71. So there's a bit of a difference with that, you youngin'. So, yeah, what's your third one?
The Mask of Zorro.
How old were you when you watched that, Fraser?
No, I was like, admittedly, like in my teens, right? But I wasn't me in my teens yet. I was still bubbling away.
Yeah.
And that film influenced me in the way that it reinforced the idea of me wanting to make films.
Okay.
As a kid. Yep. So that sat with me because it was a superhero movie, but
cool film. Yep.
But set in whatever era that it's set in. I don't know exactly when it's set. I'm pretty sure it tells you at the start of it. But there was something about the origin story of Zorro and just the charm and charisma and the setting. Like, I hadn't seen a movie like that before. It wasn't set in New York in the future. It wasn't set in New York in the past. It wasn't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was a foreign country to me. It was a foreign time to me. It was different characters. You know. It was apart from Antonio Banderas and the Catherine Zeta-Jones. It wasn't all white people. Do you know what I mean? And the music by James Horner. It's just gorgeous, and the choreography and the swords and all that stuff. Oh man, that to me was like cinema's magic.
It was. It was Martin Campbell, wasn't it? I think.
Martin Campbell, same guy who did Goldeneye, and then
Casino Royale.
Bring him back for whoever the next Bond is, because that's a good pattern to follow. But there was just something about it, and I watched the making of. There was like on the video, there was like a half an hour featurette of how they made it, and I just devoured that to the point where the video started to wear out.
Oh no.
Because I was just watching it over and over and over and over again. And I know I was a little bit older, and we'll go back to my other 2 are definitely when I was a kid. But there was something about it, there was something I just clicked with that movie when I was younger.
Okay. Good movie. Good. Second one not so much, but first one was really, really good.
But they should do a third one now.
Yeah, they should. Yep.
And have Antonio Banderas back training his kid.
Yep. Good choice. I didn't expect that one coming.
I know you didn't.
My number 1, because I'm just going to do it in this order, otherwise I get very, very confused, is The Never-Ending Story, which you look on IMDb, it's 1984, but it was 1985 when the UK got it. This is what gets confusing about back in the day. You go, I was 13 when I saw that. No, I wasn't. I was 14. It came out a year after it was released. But I really related with Bastien. I'm like, screw those bullies. They can do one. I want a luck dragon. I want a racing snail and a stupid bat and all that sort of stuff. And it's just a film. Even to this day, I can watch that and it's still.
How old were you?
I was 14.
So I was 14 when I saw Mask of Zorro. It came out in 1998. I feel vindicated.
You feel vindicated, yep. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the other Never-Ending Stories, but I love the first one.
It's heartbreaking with the horse.
It is, but the horse comes back. I was doing a podcast with Lisa Downs, who's doing a Life After Never-Ending Story, and I mentioned the horse part. She's like, "Yeah, but it comes back at the end." I'm like, "Yeah, but we forget that because we've been through the trauma."
I can't.
So it does. So it does come back. Artax comes back.
I forgot the horse comes back.
Just you see him riding along as Bastian's flying over in a luck dragon. You're like, all is well, but that was seriously traumatic.
Potentially one of the best ever film songs in the world.
Yeah. It belongs on the list with Ghostbusters, obviously.
Stranger Things uses that song.
Yeah.
And
it does.
And beautifully.
And it works.
But they're clever. They're clever with music, like Running Up the Hill and the season. They'll never top that. That's an absolute peak. But I approve of the story. Would you watch a reboot?
Yeah, of course I would. Because it doesn't damage the original one. Still there.
I think there are talks of more.
Yeah, there are. And Tammy Stronach, who played the child empress in it, she's attached as a producer or something. She's connected with it.
Right.
So if you got the empress behind the desk, then that works. But yeah, of course I'd watch a reboot.
I'll go with number 2.
Yep.
Return of the Jedi.
It's on my list as well.
That's my favourite Star Wars film.
Same. So it's mine too. Yeah, people often go Empire. Like, I love Empire, but Jedi's got everything.
It's too dark. What's great about Return of the Jedi is it's Luke as a Jedi. That, when he goes to Jabba's palace and then he's got the fight on the boat and Princess Leia. And it's just Han being Han and Chewie being Chewie, and it just works. It's just, there's something so nice about that last film where he fights the Emperor and they're all fighting above in the planet above it. It's just, and the music, and Darth Vader turns good in the end, just flawless.
A bit of middle finger to the special editions, though. I'm giving. I prefer the original versions.
Based only on the fact that they swapped out Sebastian with.
But that's my major issue on that. I don't like the other. I don't like the extra song and dance number. I don't like the fact they changed the Ewok song at the end. It's like, But the swapping out of the Anakins at the end does genuinely annoy me.
I don't know why he did it.
It's because he could.
But just because you can doesn't mean you should.
No, exactly. Thank you, Jeff Goldblum.
Not in my 3 childhood films, but I love Jedi. I love Jedi so much. I just love the music. I love when Luke and Leia realize that they're brother and sister. I love when Han realizes the bit where C-3PO tells the story of the first 2 films. So all the Ewoks, you've got Warwick Davis in there. The speeder chase is great, really thrilling stuff. Seeing Star Wars effects during the day and not at night, where they hide a lot of things that see it during the day. Great stuff, man.
And as a kid, 12 years old, watching that in a theatre, it was amazing because you're like, is Han going to be okay? You'd waited 3 years to find out what the Vader thing is. Vader's got to be lying. No way could he be Luke's dad. And as a kid, you're like, I need to know. You had to wait 3 years. Sucked. Yeah. But it was great to actually find out what happened. But no, Jedi's on my list. So that saved me one. And it's also my favourite Star Wars film as well.
I'm looking forward to the Acolyte.
Yeah, the thing is with Star Wars, though, I'm that behind on some of them. I'm like, do I need to watch other stuff before?
No, you don't. You don't need to know anything. And I'm not up to date. I don't watch the Bad Batch or anything like that. And I've not watched Rebels, and I've not watched the start of the
Clone Wars and
Wars. But this is set during the early days of the High Republic. So it's way back when. And it's got an amazing cast. An absolutely stunning cast.
Is there any women in it, though, Fraser? Because if there is, I'm not watching it.
You might want to give it a skip.
I'll skip it.
But see, the Jedi Knights at the prime of the Jedi, and all the sabers going up in different colours. Daphne Keen's in it. I love Daphne Keen. Yeah. She's one of the Jedis in it, as an alien Jedi. And there's a Chewie Jedi, there's a Wookiee Jedi. Oh man, it's gonna be great. Everything that you love about Star Wars, but in a neat little TV show. And I said to Siobhan's not a massive Star Wars fan. And I was like, will you give it a go with me? And she goes, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's good.
So, do you want to do your last one, and then I've got my last one then?
I think we both know what it is.
It's got to be Ghostbusters for you, isn't it? See, I wasn't sure because that's why it's not necessarily the best, but it's it defines who you, and obviously Ghostbusters does define who you are. So
Yeah. 5 years old, blowing out the birthday candles on my cake, hearing the librarian go like running around the library being chased by something, and me going up to the TV and saying to my mum and dad, "What's this?" And my mum's like, "Oh, it's your favourite." But I was like, oh, "Okay, I have a favourite." And it, just her screaming and it cutting into the titles that the logo over the library. I was hooked from the start, and I used to watch it practically every day on videotape. And I had Ghostbusters 1 on videotape, and then I had Ghostbusters 1 and 2 on videotape, and in the middle of it, old black and white Batman serial in the middle, and I ran that tape ragged, and I could quote that film like from start to finish as a kid, and I'd act it out in front of the telly. Just beautiful, man. And the older you get, the more you appreciate that film.
yeah, of course. I think I did it the other month. Is go back and if you think you hate Ghostbusters 2, go back and watch it again. It's not as bad as you think it was if you didn't like it. I quite like it.
It's not bad.
It's fine.
It's the same film, but that's a lot of the movies back in the 80s when they did a sequel was just the same film. Lethal Weapon 2 is just Lethal Weapon 1. RoboCop 2.
Oh, yeah, RoboCop. That's not a good example to use in defense of sequels. That was not, RoboCop 2 is rough. But sometimes I'll go back and rewatch that because it's like I want to watch a different RoboCop film that isn't the one that I know word for word. So I'll just watch the second one.
I'm quite partial to the third one.
Third one I don't mind. Jetpacks and stuff is a bit weird, but So my final film. Go on, carry on.
I was just going to say I quite enjoy the 2014 one.
Yeah, no, I didn't mind that either. Same with the Total Recall remake. I quite like that one as well. That was all right.
Your number one?
Number one, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, beautiful.
7 years old, in a cinema, watching this thing. It's a weird film because it's not action-packed by any means. So as a 7-year-old me, I don't know what I thought. But I gravitated towards that and E.T., where as a kid, I'm like, I want to get in a spaceship and do one, which, would make sense. And ever since that day, I've been fascinated by Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Whichever version, I alternate between the different versions each time I watch it. I have all three of them.
How many are three?
Three. And they're all on the Blu-ray. So you can go, I'm going to watch this one. I'm going to watch that one.
What's the difference? Like, can you summarize?
The theatrical one was however long it was. So I can't remember the exact running time. And then Spielberg Columbia came back and went, we want to re-release it in the cinema because we'll make more money because we need more money because we're a bit skint. So Spielberg went, I'll only let you release it if you let me shoot some more stuff that I wanted to do when we were first doing it, but you wouldn't let me because you wanted it out by Christmas or whatever. So Columbia went, all right. So they let him shoot some more stuff and they went, oh, but Stephen, you've got to do an ending where you see inside the spaceship. He's like, I don't want to. They're like, well, you're not released that. Got to do it. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. So that's different. That was never in the theatrical. The whole, oh, look, lights. Also, the ocean liner in the desert was new. That was shot specially for the 1980 special edition. And when they re-released it in 1980, they took some scenes out. So the bit with Carl Weathers and stuff, that's not in it. I saw Bigfoot once, that whole scene, that's not in the special edition. So there isn't there's a long one with everything, and there's a short one with not as much. So you have to watch them both periodically. And then when the third version came out, the director's cut, which was like 90s at some point, I don't know when it was, but it's a hybrid of the two of them.
Right.
So it's like all the extra stuff that got chopped out of the first one, but no inside the spaceship ending, but there's other bits missing. So that's why you have to periodically watch all three versions just so you can revisit some. It's very complicated. I wish there was a stupidly long version that had everything in because I just watched that one.
I bet you someone's got it on YouTube.
Yeah, I kept thinking about I'm going to make one, but I don't have a Blu-ray ripper, so that's not happening. But
yeah, sure.
It is complicated when you've got three different versions and there isn't just one size fits all.
You've inspired me to watch all three at some point because I remember as a kid thinking, well, I can't watch that because I've not seen the first two.
Oops.
And then and the scene of the mashed potato, it's just cool. Like, it's just when he's making the mountain up. I used to have so much respect for Richard Dreyfuss, but unfortunately he's gone off the mad end. So.
I think he's on his meds. I think. Yeah, a little
We
bit.
won't go into it, but did you see about the Jaws screening?
I did, but the problem is, I won't defended Dreyfuss because I wasn't there when he said whatever he said or whatever. But it was like you see a lot of news stories where like they said this. It's like that's not even a true story. Like the Elon Musk Mel Gibson thing that we talked about. You're like that's not even real. But
he did walk out in a dress just to be controversial.
Did he? Oops. Dreyfuss.
But in the last few years he has definitely been on the downward turn, which is a shame because I love him in Jaws. I love him in
Mr. Holland's Opus is amazing. If you've not seen that film, it's really good in that.
Stakeout, I love Stakeout so much. Like, it's one of my favorites. So, I will reach out and watch it.
Let me know which versions you watch. If you're going to just watch one, watch the director's cut version because that's got the most of everything in.
I have an honourable mention.
I have probably a couple that I rattle off as well. Yeah.
I went quickly, and not much explanation, but a Flight of the Navigator.
Great film. I love all them 80s films: Explorers, Flight of the Navigator, Last Starfighter, Never-Ending Story, all them sort of the cluster of.
Not included.
Yes, that one.
Cocoon
Return.
What a time.
Yep. Amazing. My honourable mentions, and these were the ones that I was battling over as to what would be my third one. Return of the Jedi took the slot as my third one. The other ones were Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which is my favourite Indiana Jones film. Saw it at the cinema, great. Rambo First Blood Part 2. That was amazing to watch on a big screen. You're like, oh my God, there's explosions everywhere. And then Clash of the Titans from 1981. That was my other one. I've been to one of the locations on that, which isn't there anymore because it collapsed. But every time I would go to Malta, I would visit the place where the Kraken comes up and I'd be like, that's kind of cool. So I did that several times over the years. But Return of the Jedi took its slot. So my three: Never-Ending Story, Close Encounters, and Return of the Jedi. Yours were Ghostbusters, Return of the Jedi, and
Mask of Zorro. And you made me a fool for mentioning a film I saw when I was 14, only for you to have seen a film when you were 14.
Yeah, no, I think it wasn't so much that. It was more like we were talking about watching films younger, and I'm like, I was in my 20s when I'm like, Jesus. It's just, I'm highlighting our age gap there, Fraser.
But I love Mask of Zorro. Like, it's so good. Just music. Like, the scene where they steal the map, it's just that whole sequence from start to finish is just stunning. Just so good. But I like that. That was a good topic.
It's a good list. So if anybody does leave comments on YouTube, they're kind of few and far between. 3 films that have shaped your life from childhood. So.
And why?
And they can have women in it as well. We don't mind. Don't have to be male-centric movies. They can be anything.
Oh, mine were all male-centric. I know Princess Leia was
Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones in Mask of Zorro.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I don't feel so bad anymore.
So you've sort of balanced. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you for this nice little short couple of videos, Fraser.
I like to be shorty.